Hi all, and today I'm doing something a little bit different, which is more around practice growth than actually specialising in emotional eating and disordered eating. Now, by way of introduction, I'm Emma Murphy. I'm a disordered eating specialist psychotherapist, and I worked in private practice over 12 years, specialising in the area of emotional eating and binge eating disorder. For the past 7 years, I've been training other health professionals to specialise in this area and also helping them grow and develop their practice through licensing and other supports. So today my video is about pricing your offers and working out how you price your offers, why you need to set them at that price, and then being able to communicate your price clearly and confidently to clients so they know what they are getting into when they sign up with you as a client. So let's get started. All right, so the very first thing that I'm going to talk to you about is how you pitch your services to clients. And we need to start with this and frame this because this is actually what you're going to have to work backwards from to get to the point where you know who you're working with, what you're charging them, and how you're presenting your information to them. Okay, so this is a pretty standard version of a LinkedIn message that I get about 3 times a week. Okay, and I'm sure you're exactly the same. Good day. We are providing companies with high qualified IT resources, helping them to complete projects of different levels of difficulty. If it sounds like something you might be interested in, let's connect. Now, why am I sharing this with you? This is actually a very good example of a generic message that really does not tell me anything about what this company does or how they can help me or solve my problem or my pain point. Okay, so if we're going to look at how we communicate our offers to clients, this is a really good one to start with because it tells us nothing about nothing. It speaks to nobody in particular, and the vast majority of people who get this message are going to completely gloss over it, just delete it and move on. Now, let's have a look at the same version of this in the context of health coaching or therapy. Okay, so our therapist version of the generic IT message that I get on LinkedIn all the time is Therapist Mary Murphy, BA Hons, MSc, SMA or T. I'm a qualified psychotherapist and accredited with the IACP. I work from an integrative perspective, having completed studies in CBT, ACT, Assist, and I'm a smart facilitator. What have you learned about Mary Murphy reading this? Now, you have a chance of maybe understanding some of those acronyms if you're a health coach or a health professional yourself. But if you're a regular person looking for help with a specific issue, Mary has told the client precisely nothing about what she does, who she helps, or how she's going to do it. Now, underneath you can see the health coach version of this, and I see this on LinkedIn all the time as well. Health coach Mary Murphy, NBC HWC. I'm a board certified health and wellness coach and can help with any health or wellness goals you have. Book a discovery call with me now and let's see how I can help you achieve your goals. Again, too generic, not explaining anything about what she does, how she does it, who she helps, or how she's going to solve any particular problem. Both of these specialists or practitioners in different ways are trying to speak to everybody and just throw out this very generic sort of wide-ranging information in the hope that anybody who has a problem will see it and click and book a call or book a consultation or book an appointment. Usually with a therapist, they're actually expecting somebody to go straight into booking an appointment that they're going to pay for. And this is not how we can advertise ourselves in this day and age. If you look at the second section then, are you struggling with life just now? Are you feeling stuck and unsure of what's actually wrong? Because on the surface it looks like you've got it all together. Would it help to talk to somebody in complete confidence who won't judge you or have an opinion and knows how to help you get going again? Now this is a bit better, okay? Somebody's stuck, they don't know what to do, they're not quite sure what's wrong, but they just know something's not right. And at least this is naming some kind of problem that the client is having or some kind of feeling that they are experiencing, okay? They are experiencing some kind of feeling. They're feeling stuck, they're feeling unsure, and at least this speaks to them in some way, shape or form. Now, obviously as an emotional binge eating expert, we would say, and our practitioners would be saying something far more direct, which would be, do you binge eat? Are you tired have you tried all the diets with no permanent success? And is your life on hold until you sort out your relationship with food? So again, that's very clear. The client is a binge eater, they're an emotional eater, they're stuck in the relationship with food, they don't know where to go or what to do. And I've very clearly told them that this is my area of expertise and I can help them get unstuck. And just at the bottom of this now, I have circled my, I often feel like sending this to the people who send me the generic IT services message on LinkedIn. Are you struggling to organize information in an easily accessible, secure online place that everyone on your remote team can access securely from home or from their devices on the go? Even that is a lot more explanatory about what that person does or what that service provides, and how they can help with a particular pain point, which is a manager of a team with people who are in the office and working remotely and on the road, and can everybody access the same material safely, easily, and in an encrypted form so that it is secure. That's, it's a much better message than the one that we saw earlier on. Okay? Now, before you switch off completely, because I'm sure you have seen this a million times before, it really is critical that you absolutely know who your ideal client is, what their biggest problem is, and how you solve it for them, because this is the key of you communicating what you do to your clients and how you're going to help them find relief from the problem that is bothering them right now, or that potentially has been bothering them for quite a long time. Certainly in the case of emotional eating and binge eating disorder, clients have often been struggling with yo-yo dieting, emotional eating and binge eating for decades. And we would often use that word decades because it resonates with the clients. They've been stuck in this cycle of yo-yo dieting for years and years and years. So you say something like that and the client immediately goes, that's me, I've been doing that, how can these people help me? And then they will, read further messages after that. So you must do that piece of work, or of who is your ideal client and what is their biggest problem and how are you going to solve it, before you really begin to communicate clearly on your website, your socials, whatever, or wherever you're putting your information, on a poster, in the doctor's waiting room down the road from where you work. Just being very clear about who you help, how you help them, and the biggest pain point that they have that you are able to solve for them. So if you don't know how to do this, Google or look on YouTube, ideal client avatar worksheet. How do I, do my ideal client avatar? How do I decide who my ideal client is? And there's a ton of information out there and a ton of worksheets that you can use that will help you work through that process of who your ideal client is and how to identify them and speak to them in a way that resonates with them and gets them to click that button to book that initial call or book that initial appointment with you. Okay, so the next thing that you need to be very clear on is, what do you offer? So first of all, do you work in any specialist area? So are you a specialist like we are in emotional eating and binge eating? Or are you a specialist in gut issues? Are you a specialist in endometriosis? What sort of training have you done? What sort of client do you like to work with? What do you specialize in? And what's the thing you enjoy the most actually trying to resolve for clients? That is, going to be at least one of the niches or specialist areas that you can talk about confidently when you're communicating with potential clients, okay? Then how do you work? Do you work open-ended, session to session? That's very common for therapists like me, or maybe psychologists, where just the client comes in and at the end of each session, would you like to book again? And you book them in for the following week and then they come back. Now, I do not recommend that particular way of working for clients, for therapists or practitioners, coaches, I should say. It's really not helpful for the client. It's just leaving the door open. You're often then working from that person-centered sort of model, and that's absolutely appropriate. But you're allowing the client to set the agenda every week. You've no real idea what they're going to come in with or what you're going to be working on, or you will have some kind of an idea from what happened the previous week, but you know yourself, the client can come in and present with something completely different and then you go off track. And you're far better to set a time limit around what you do, have a package, a 12-week or 12-session program, something like that, and set parameters around what you're going to do and boundaries around the work, so that you can work in blocks of time, do a piece of work, the client sees results, and then they're more likely to stay on with you and book another 6 or 12 sessions or whatever it is after they've done their initial block of work with you. So that's just something about open-ended sessions. Packages in, that's exactly what I'm talking about. 12 sessions for X price, something like that. Do you work with groups? A group program can obviously be very cost effective for your clients. It's also good for you because it allows you to charge more or earn more per hour or 2 hours compared to what you would earn if you just had 1 or 2 clients in that same period of time. So an 8-week or 12-week group coaching program can be a great option if you do have experience of working with groups and can offer something for Again, if you have a niche or specialist area, it's easier to offer a group because you're focusing on a particular area of, like, doing an 8-week program for women with endometriosis, or doing a 12-week program for people who struggle with emotion eating and binge eating disorder. Then, are you going to run workshops? Would you do a half-day workshop or a one-day workshop? Is it online or is it in person? How much do you charge for it, etc., etc.? Just, is that something that you want to do and be able to work in that way? Now, a workshop can be a great lead magnet, and that's marketing speak. For something that you're giving people a relatively low cost way of meeting you, engaging with you, getting a feel for how you work. And often people who come to something like a workshop will then decide to work with you one-to-one or join a group program. So it is a good idea to think about having a workshop and being able to offer that as a half-day or one-day offering. Now, we're well past, lockdowns and COVID and all the rest of it at this stage. So I really would encourage some of you at least to think about running in-person workshops in your area and see how that goes as an idea, because people are looking for connection. People want to know that they can meet people in person. I see it all the time as well. We get people, looking for an eating freely practitioner, and quite often they'll say, I prefer to work with somebody in person rather than working with them online. So, we're all a bit Zoom fatigued, we're all a bit camera fatigued, and really there's no substitute for having a personal connection with somebody, and a short half-day or one-day workshop can be a great way to do that. And then when you're actually engaged with the client and they want to work with you one-to-one, you could always do a hybrid where you're doing some in-person sessions and some, online sessions. Now, doing in-person sessions one-to-one can be difficult if you don't have a room or anywhere to practice from, but I would just encourage you to think about all of those things and to see if that's something that you can work up to over the next 6 or 12 months, where you actually do have a space where you're able to offer in-person support in your local area. Because sometimes it's a lot easier to bring your marketing in and focus on marketing locally in person than it is to actually be trying to attract clients online, where you're competing with literally every other health professional in the world who's in private practice. So just think about that. And then finally, are you working online or in person? And is there a price difference if you see somebody in person versus seeing them online? And that's okay. It could cost a bit more to see somebody in person because, of course, you're paying for insurance and paying for a room and paying to keep the lights on. But again, a person is going to pay a premium for being able to sit with somebody one-to-one in a room. And often the work can be more effective when you're in person and looking at the person, able to see the body language, able to read what's going on, able to feel the energy of that person better than you can online. So it makes sense that you might charge a little bit more if you work in person versus working online. But you need to know what you offer and how you offer it, and that again is going to help us set our prices. So this is something that's very important for you to do. All right, now this is the meat and potatoes of this presentation, guys. How much do you need to charge? Okay, so we're going to go through, I've just written out a list of things that you need to take into account here. These are business expenses, very normal business expenses for anybody with a private practice to have. And you really need to know your numbers to be able to set your fees accordingly. And this is also about you being able to pay yourself a salary and maybe even being able to put money into your pension or your 401k or whatever it's called in your world. But you need to know your numbers. You need to know how much it costs you to run your business every year and how much you need to get paid out of your business every year to cover your own expenses and pay your mortgage and, save for a holiday. So writing down these numbers may seem scary, but it is something that you have to do. Okay, so room rental, if that's relevant, if you do rent rooms to either do group workshops or to work one-on-one with clients in person. Your insurance, your memberships and accreditations, your software licenses. So even if you're only paying $10 for MailChimp or Constant Contact or whatever it is, that's an expense as well. Your phone, if that's something that you use a lot for your work, or you have a dedicated mobile phone that you use for work, that's an expense. Your printing, so if you're printing off handouts and giving the clients in person, again, if you're doing a workshop and you have to print stuff off, if you're printing out marketing materials, so again, if you're marketing locally or you're going to attend a health fair or something like that and have a stand or have a table or talk to people, any transport or parking expenses that you have, again, if you're traveling into work or having to travel to deliver workshops or group programs, all of your CPD or your continuing professional development or your continuing education training, any books that you buy, magazine subscriptions, so that could be your journals that you buy that are to do with your work. Then you have your salary. How much do you need to get paid out of your practice to live on? So your salary needs to be, for this sum, you need to put in the gross amount that you're going to pay yourself out of your business, and then out of that you personally are going to pay your tax out of that, but the gross amount is the amount that you need to put into this calculation. And then any pension contribution, if you want to make a pension contribution, now that might come later, you know, you mightn't be able to do that just now, and that's fine. And your salary might be quite low for now, and that's fine too. But you should also be working on being able to give yourself, if you are starting low, you need to be able to work out, if I need to put out my salary every 3 months, put it up by €500, $500 or whatever it is, until I get to the level of salary that I aspire to be earning out of my practice. And then also, you know, to be able to say, this time next year I want to start making a small pension contribution, and then it goes up incrementally after that. But just factoring all of these things in and knowing where you are now, where you're starting from, and then where you're going to want to go in the future is really, really helpful for you to work backwards then and know how much you're going to charge for your services to your clients. And it may help you think more strategically about how you offer services and what services you offer. So, you know, you may kind of realize, oh, maybe I do need to do workshops or group coaching programs, or maybe I also need to be offering workshops to corporates or something like that, where I can actually get paid for delivering some kind of an event or group event, so that I maximize my earnings per hour by doing some group or one-to-many sort of offerings. That's what that's called, one-to-one, or one-to-many being group or workshops or that kind of thing. And then any other expenses that you have that are related to your business that, you know, contribute to you being able to run your business in the normal course of the day, and getting that number for yourself. That's the first step. Okay. All right. So no more than your client needs clarity, you also need clarity. So you need to know how many clients you can see in a week, how many hours do you have in a week to offer to clients, how many weeks a year do you intend to work? So do you want to take 2 weeks vacation, 4 weeks vacation, 6 weeks vacation, 3 months vacation while the kids are off school? You know, how many weeks a year are you going to be available to work? And then from that, you're able to work out what your minimum per session fee needs to be based on all the expenses that we listed from the previous slide, divided by the number of weeks you're willing to work or able to work. And then you divide that by the number of sessions per week that you're willing to deliver. So say, for example, my total expenses come to €80,000, and I'm going to work 46 weeks a year. So I'm going to give myself a very generous 6 weeks holidays a year. Now that might be because I have childcare, that might be because, you know, there's religious holidays that I want to take into account, or I just have decided that I want to work 4 days a week, or, you know, you need to just work out how you're going to slice and dice your time and how many sessions per week and how many weeks per year you're going to be available to work. So I'm going to work 46 weeks a year, and I need to earn a minimum of 80,000 in order to cover all of my expenses, including the salary that I'm planning on paying myself. Okay. So it's not a very large salary, because that's, you know, all my expenses and my salary in there. And that's my gross salary, remember, not my net salary. So your figure could likely be higher too, or maybe maybe the figure is going to be a 6-figure sum, and that's absolutely fine. But you may have to work up to that, where you say, well, year 1 I'm going to earn 80, year 2 90, year 3 120, whatever it is. Okay, so 80,000 divided by 46 weeks is 1,739 a week. So that's what I need to earn every week to be able to meet my goal of making 80,000 in a year out of my business, gross. And when I say making it, that's to cover everything, not just my salary. €1,739 divided by 15 hours a week, because I'm only available to see clients 15 hours a week, is €116 a session. Okay. Now, I have been in this business for a long time. I was in practice for over 12 years. I am a specialist in emotional eating and binge eating disorder. I would maybe be quite comfortable charging €120 a session. So that's okay for me. It mightn't suit everybody. It mightn't work for where you live. It mightn't work for the client, population that you have around you. It may work very well online if you're targeting people who have disposable income, but you also have to cut your cloth by, who you're going to be working with and how you're going to serve them. So maybe $120 or €120 is outrageous to you, and it's completely off the charts, and there's no way that anybody could afford to pay you more than €50 a session or whatever. But then you have to take that into account in terms of, well, then how many weeks are you going to work? How many sessions are you going to offer a week? And how many sessions are you going to offer a week without burning out, which is really important. So If I'm looking at that and I'm kind of thinking, well, €116 a session is very high and I only want to work 15 sessions a week. So then I might say to myself, well, okay, I'll do 4 workshops a year. And I know that I can earn €1,500 net from every workshop I run. So I offer my workshops at €125 per person. I would try and have 21 people signed up for the workshop. Maybe 18 would turn up on the day, but that's fine. There's a non-refund policy if they don't show up. And I earn about 2,600 from that, and then my expenses were about 900. So, or sorry, I should say 1,100. So I net €1,500 from any workshop that I run. Okay, so if I run 4 workshops a year at 1,500, that gives me €6,000 net. If I deduct that from the 80,000 that I'm, looking to earn out of my business, that leaves me with 74,000 to cover from my weekly sessions for one-to-one clients. So I hope that makes sense. So 74,000 divided by 46 weeks is €1,608, which divided by, I've decided now I'm going to do more hours per week because I don't think I can charge people as much as €120. So at 20 hours a week, that's €80 a session. Okay, so that's how I work that out. So no matter how you're going to slice and dice your time and how many sessions you're going to offer to clients, whether you're going to do group work, whether you're going to do workshops, this is how you work it out. You work out how much you need to fully cover your expenses and your salary and maybe your pension contribution, how many weeks a year you're going to work, how many hours a week you're going to work, and how many of those hours are you going to allocate maybe to one-to-one sessions, to group sessions, to workshops, and then you can work out what your one-to-one session fee is going to be, which is going to be usually the main bulk of your work. So I really hope that makes sense. All right, so when it comes to presenting information to your clients about what you do and how you do it and all the rest of it, this is the checklist that you need. How are you going to solve the client's problem? So the client has a pain point, that's what you should be speaking about. If it's endometriosis, if it's type 2 diabetes, if it's emotional binge eating, if it's, chronic pain, whatever it is, you are the person who's going to help them because you're the specialist in that area. And then how are you going to do it? You're going to do it through one-to-one sessions, through your signature group coaching program, through your workshop, through working with them in person, through working with them online. So there are their options. How long is it going to take? Are you offering them, as I say, is it a package? Is it a program? Is it a group? Is it a workshop? How much is it going to cost? We're covering that today in this video, how you work out what your pricing structure is. How can they pay you? Can they pay you monthly? Can they pay you in installments? Does it have to be full pay? Can they pay you by card? Can they pay online? And then can they claim any of the feedback on their insurance? So if you are covered by insurance, to make that very clear to clients and let them know that, whatever the circumstances are, if a particular insurance company cover you, have their logo on your website. If there's terms and conditions around it, you can have the terms and conditions apply, and then maybe they click and you bring them through to a PDF or a one-page, website where it just very clearly, so-and-so, so-and-so, and so-and-so cover me. And this is how you go about making your claim back. And again, you might have to go and do a bit of due diligence on that and find out how that actually works. I know here in Ireland, therapists like myself, back in the day, we would have to ring the insurance companies, we'd have to give them our credentials, we would be on their list. And then anytime a client put in a claim against me, Emma Murphy, VHI or whoever it was would actually go into their database and check that I was an accredited psychotherapist, a member of the IACP, registered on CORE, whatever the CORU, so you might have to do a little bit of homework on that as well. But again, telling clients that they can claim back some or all of your fees on their insurance is very helpful, and that can often take away another barrier towards them working with you. So this is the checklist of the information that clients need to know. This is what they want to know. If they have to email and ask how much is the cost of the program, all of that, and you're better off not leaving yourself open to those questions, because if you send back an email to somebody and say, hi Mary, I charge 120 quid a session, that might sound like an awful lot to Mary, and she'll be like, oh, where if you've got actually better information on your website that Mary can read and go through and work her way through, that's very helpful for Mary, because she's getting a sense of who you are, what you do, and that you can solve her pain point. So you're actually priming the client and helping them to make that decision to buy from you by having that information on your website up front, instead of hiding it and expecting them to call you or make a discovery call to find out what it is and what you do and how you can help them. That's probably why you're not getting very many people booking discovery calls, if that's a situation that you're in. So just think about this and then use this checklist to make sure you're putting the information out there so the clients can find it easily and quickly and make it easier for them to make the decision to book that call with you. Now, another part of this that's very important to understand is how you actually then make your offers or present them to clients. So if you have a website, do you list them on your website? Where are they on your website? Is it clear and easy to read? Do clients understand what their choices are? And it's very important not to overwhelm clients. So, I would have I work with clients one-to-one. I usually work in blocks of 12 sessions. My 12 session specialist program for endometriosis and PCOS is €1,200, and then the client is really clear, it's €100 a session, it's 12 sessions, that's what I need to pay, and that's very simple for a client to understand. And then if you do group coaching or you do workshops, they might be underneath because you might be doing them at a time, phase basis. So my next group is starting in September, my next workshop will be in October, whatever it is. But how do you list them on the website, and how do you make sure that they're clear to clients? Do you send information out by email? If you do, again, just make sure it's really clear and, based on what the client has asked you, answer their question. How can I book an appointment? Can I see you in person? Do you work online? How much does a session cost? So if a client asks you any of those questions, don't be sending them information about your group coaching program. Don't be sending them information about your workshops. Just send them the information that they asked for, and then send them to your website where maybe you have a page with everything on it that explains everything in a little bit more detail. But it's really important in this day and age when we're overwhelmed with information to keep things as short and succinct as possible so clients can easily navigate their way through your information and know what it is that you offer, how much you're charging for it, and how long it's going to take. And then the bonus is if you can offer them any kind of a rebate through insurance, or if there's any other way that they can actually pay for the session installments versus paying in full, all of that good stuff, that kind of needs to be in there as well. Do you offer discovery call? Now, I would be very careful about this. This is a big bone of contention with coaches in particular who routinely offer a discovery call, or we tend to offer a free consultation. But we're still quite clear with clients about what we do and what we offer before they come on that call. There's no point in keeping your information too vague and generic on your website and hoping that people are going to book a discovery call. They're far more likely to book a discovery call if you're clear about what you do, clear about how much it costs, and clear about who you serve, because then when they're coming onto the call, you know that you've actually qualified them. They are a very warm lead if they book that discovery call, having read that information already and got that information off your website or your socials or whatever it is you have it, the email that you sent them, etc. So don't be afraid to spell out what you do to your clients and be very clear about it, because that means when they come on to a discovery call, really they're only checking, are you the person for them? Can they work with you personally? They've kind of already made up their mind that they're very open to spending the money or booking the package or buying the package, but they just want to confirm that you're the right person that they can work with, and do they click with you? So that's one of the real reasons why it's very important to be clear about what you do, what you offer, who you help, and how much it's going to cost. Do you do something like a regular webinar or some other free resource? Do you have anything recorded on your website, kind of, again, a lead magnet? And if you do, are you putting that information in about your services at the end, the upsell? Do you give them the next step? Here's how you book a call with me. Here's how you find out more about my upcoming, group coaching program, or my masterclass, or my workshop. And just make sure that you've got that at the end of your recorded lead magnet, whatever it is. Now, a little tip for you there on recording a lead magnet and putting information at the end. If you do it by video, you can record a generic video and have that ready to go. And I would do it in 2 blocks. So you have a separate block at the end which talks about your group coaching program or your one-to-one program or whatever it is. If you've any dates in there, something that's time limited or specific, you record that separately. Now, I do this. You can see on YouTube, if you look at my YouTube channel, you'll see that at the beginning of the card videos that I do, I'm wearing a blue top and I've got my hair tied up the way I have today, and I say that, I'm Emma Murphy, blah blah blah, these are my cards, blah blah blah, and I'm teaching about working with emotional eating and binge eating. And then when it goes into the video, I'm wearing a different top. I might be wearing different nail polish. In some cases I've tried to put the same top back on again, just for that continuity. But I can attach that, first video to a lot of other different videos, and people don't really mind that as long as you're kind of clear about it. But just think about when you're recording anything that's going to be up on your website for, a long time. Make sure that either you don't mention any dates or times at all, or refer to anything specific, and put that information in writing underneath the video, or else record that part separately so that you can swap it out and swap another refreshed or new version of it back in again when that offer has expired, or you've decided to do something different, or you want to upsell them to something else. Okay, so that's just another little tip for you there on your recorded lead magnets, because it's very annoying for clients to go onto a website and watch a recorded lead magnet, and then the information at the end of it is completely out of date, or you mentioned something that was on in September 2022. So just be mindful of that. And then, where else do you make your offers, and are they clear and easy to understand for your clients? Okay. Now, again, this is a different version, a different side of the same problem for clients. How do they research their options with you? Do you have a recorded video? Do you have FAQs on your website? Do you have a downloadable PDF where they can actually read what you do, and they can print it off and they can have a look at it and think about it and mull it over and leave it on their desk for a while they kind of consider whether they're going to actually book that call with you or not? How else can you present that information to them and make sure that they know? And by the way, remember, clients don't make decisions, in the moment or very quickly. Some do. But a lot of clients will look at you, they'll research you, they'll be looking at your social media, they'll be, following your content, and they'll be thinking about working with you, and they might have gone off and found that information about your packages or your prices, or downloaded your PDF or read your FAQs. So again, make it easy for them to bookmark that page on your website. Say that to bookmark this page so you can come back whenever you like. And bookmark this page so you can book the discovery call whenever you're ready. Download this PDF so you have all of the information. And again, just make it easy for the client. Don't make it hard for them. I very often talk about an example of this when we're doing our practice growth masterclasses for our licensed practitioners. And I remember there was a survey done of therapists, and somebody anonymously went on to, I think, 20 different therapists' websites and tried to see how easy or hard it was for a client to actually make an appointment with the therapist. And really, it was incredibly difficult. And this was only in the last couple of years, when we'd all been online and on Zoom and all of that. And the amount of therapists who had no phone number on their website, they had no form on their website, they had an email address that didn't work or that the email bounced back from, they had links to 404 pages. Somebody would ring and leave a message if there actually was a phone, and the phone didn't ring out but actually went to a voicemail or an answering service. The client would leave a message, and it could take up to a week for somebody to ring them back. Quite often they never got the call back at all. And this is all really fundamental stuff, and yet it's amazing how we don't think about how hard we make it for clients to contact us. So just really think about how easy are you making it for a client to contact you, because if they're researching their options and they're getting ready to spend money, when they're ready to make that leap and to pull out their credit card or their debit card, they want to be able to contact you and make that call and make that payment. And if you make it hard for them, they're going to move on and find somebody else. They're not going to hang around, fighting through all the friction that they're experiencing while trying to navigate their way through your website and trying to figure out how to contact you. So again, just a checklist for you here, relating back to my how hard it was to contact a therapist survey. How can clients contact you and make an appointment? Can they book online? That's by far the easiest, by the way, to get an online scheduler, set it up. Have a regular appointment, set it for certain times. There's a little bit of setup involved in this, but most of the online calendars will have very clear, easy to follow video tutorials and instructions on how to set it up and how to make sure that you're setting the times in your calendar that you're able to take appointments from clients. And also it's very helpful for you to put a little form or a couple of questions on a booking form for clients when they click to book an appointment with you. Just ask a couple of questions and gather a little bit of information ahead of time, which is helpful for both you and the client, so that you're both kind of know what you're signing in for, what you're letting yourself in for when that client comes on to the call. Do you give them an email address? If you do you have an autoresponder? Does it tell them how long it's going to take you to get back to them? So I know a clinical psychologist who has a message that says, your email has reached us safely. And I love that word, actually, safely. your email has reached us safely and we will respond within 48 hours. Unfortunately, our practice is very busy and we don't have an admin person. But one of us will contact you within 48 hours, 2 people in the practice. That's fine. Once the client knows that somebody's going to go back to them within 48 hours, they'll be happy with that. They've sent their email. They've done their bit. They can relax because they've done something. They've taken action. And if they know that you're going to get back to them within 48 hours, that's fine. It's okay to say that. It's okay to say 72 hours if that's your SLA. And SLA, by the way, is service level agreement. You're basically telling the client how long it's going to take you to do what you say you're going to do. But be realistic about, when you're going to get back to them or how long it's going to take you to get back to them. But once you set that, SLA for the client, then they can relax because they know you're going to contact them within 48 hours or within 72 hours. Another tip as well, actually, especially nowadays with GDPR and filters on emails and stuff, I really would start asking people for their phone number. And we've gone right back to this again ourselves, where texting people a confirmation of their appointment and then texting them an hour before the appointment to remind them of it. And again, if you're techie, you can set all of this up. That can all be set up as an automation eventually through software. But it might be just at the beginning that you're actually just picking up your phone and, texting Mary, sending Mary a WhatsApp message, telling her that her appointment has been booked and just reminding Mary of her appointment an hour beforehand. Because again, especially if you do a free consultation or discovery call, the no-show rate can be quite high, and just sending that message, when they book the appointment, maybe the day before the appointment and an hour before the appointment, can be very helpful in reminding the client, or at least reminding them to cancel if they don't have any real intention of showing up. They might have booked it on impulse and then regretted their decision, but make it easy for them to cancel too. So again, just removing as much friction as you can from your client's experience of trying to engage with you. And even if you do give people a phone number, if people can phone you, make sure you just have a really nice message on your voice answering machine. Hi, this is Mary. I can't take your call right now, but please leave me your name, your number, and preferably an email address, and I will get back to you as soon as possible, or whatever you want to say. And I will get back to you as soon as possible, or I will text you back within 24 hours. I will call you back within 48 hours. And again, being really clear with what your SLA is for the client, so they know that they've left the message, you've got it, and you're going to get back to them, and they know when they can expect that to happen. Okay? So again, just a reminder of all of the things that your clients needs to know. And I think I've covered most of these, all of these, I should say, in this video now. So I really hope that you find this helpful. I would really love to hear your feedback on it. Please feel free to comment below or to send me a message on emma@eatingfreely.com, and I'd be happy to answer any of your questions. It isn't easy to be in private practice. It isn't easy to set up that successful busy practice where you've got those 15 or 20 clients coming in a week and you're able to fill 4 workshops a year, and it takes work. But a lot of the work can be made easier if you just make it easy for clients to connect with you, book a call, and know what you offer, and figure out if you are the right person for them. So a lot of this work is a one and done. If you do this correctly at the beginning and you make sure that you're communicating clearly and making it really easy for clients to connect with you and book that call or make that appointment, you've done half the work already, and you've removed a lot of the friction from the client's experience of engaging with you. And that in turn gives them confidence that you're professional and you know what you're doing. Where if your website's a mess, you're not really clear on what you do, you don't really know what you offer, you discount prices, sometimes you do groups and sometimes you do one-on-one and sometimes you work online and sometimes you work in person, and you've got all that stuff in a mishmash on your website, client's going to drop off your website and they're going to go and find somebody else who's being clearer. So although this might feel daunting or intimidating, if you decided that you were going to give yourself, the month, set a month, 30 days, I'm going to give myself 30 days to get this sorted out, and just go through your ideal client avatar, your pricing structure, your expenses, and working out exactly how many sessions and all of that good stuff, and you have your session prices and how you're going to offer your information. And just your goal is by the end of the 30 days to have that information on your website clearly and concisely for clients, to have some way of them communicating with you, connecting with you, booking a call or booking a Zoom or a consultation or a discovery, whatever you call it. And just that they are able to connect with you, understand what you do, and make that appointment. You will have done a really important piece of work. 30 days that could set you up for the next 2 years of making it far easier for you to bring in clients, get discovery calls, and convert them into paying clients in your practice. So again, I hope you found this helpful. Feel free to comment below or to contact me on emmaeatingfreely.com, and I look forward to seeing you again in the next video. But for now, take care.